Champions Mojo is part of the CG Sports Network.
Welcome to the award-winning Champions Mojo, hosted by two world record-holding athletes and health, life, and leadership coaches. Be inspired as you listen to Conversations with Champions. And now, your hosts, Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Champions Mojo podcast, and I am co-hosting with my beautiful sister-in-law, Maria. Hey, Maria.
Is being beautiful a positive character strength?
Is it a character strength? Well, we are going to find out. I do not think beauty is a character strength, and it's. I'm really talking about your beautiful soul. So,
thank you, Kelly.
But Maria, we are going to talk about character strengths today because research shows that if you are aware of your character strengths, you are 9 times more likely to flourish. Christopher Peterson and Martin Seligman are well-known researchers in the field of positive psychology and the gurus and founder of the topic we are going to be talking about today. Being aware of and using your character strengths can help you to have positive emotions, engage with others effectively, have a meaningful life, and achieve your goals. Helping people boost their strength is way more effective than focusing on correcting deficits. The science of character strength is part of the positive psychology movement. And Maria, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Kelly, the positive psychology movement is more than 25 years old and was born as a reaction to the focus on mental illness, bad behavior, and negative thinking in psychology. Thousands of studies have confirmed that finding and reflecting on your strengths can help offset negative experiences and manage problems more effectively. And with the increase in depression since the pandemic, this is a helpful tool in boosting mood as well. There's lots of great material available now to discover your own individual strengths, but probably the best place to start is viacharacter.org. Again, VIA stands for Values and Action Inventory. And at that website, there's a free test available. Kelly, you introduced me to this last year. I think it's been about a year ago. And I took the test and I was so excited about it. It just made me feel great taking the test that I had all my loved ones take it. And I wrote it down, all of their strengths. So how did you learn about this stuff?
Yes, I became really passionate about this too. I learned about this from my friend, Dr. Wanda Bethea. She's a clinical psychologist who focuses on positive psychology. She had actually spoke at a women's conference that I organized many, many years ago. And we became fast friends because I just kept peppering her with questions about positive psychology and character strengths. And she just made it so fun and interactive. And then an interesting story about this. So later in the show here, we are going to refer to one of the top thought leaders and authors and someone who is she's kind of the practicing coach guru on this topic. And that's Caroline Adams Miller. And we've had her on the show twice, but what happened with Wanda Bethea, who introduced me to positive psychology, was we had become friends because she introduced me to this. And then we were out having coffee. And she said, Kelly, you're so interested in this topic. You really should read all the stuff by Caroline Adams Miller. And I said, well, Caroline Adams Miller, wait a minute. Is she a beautiful blonde ex-swimmer? And she said, yes, she is. And I said, did she go to Harvard? And she said, yeah, she did. I said, no way, Wanda. I said, she is a very old friend from when we swam together in Northern Virginia. So that reconnected me to my friend Caroline. So this topic it's just so fun. And then, I got reacquainted with Caroline and we've had her on the show, like I said, twice. So it really was, it was kind of both. Wanda introduced me to it, and then Caroline just took it to the next level for me. So I know that, we want to talk about character strengths. And before we do drill down on this, I want to say that character strengths are the most positive part of your personality that impact how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. And there are 24 character strengths. We are not going to list all 24 here.
They're all very nice.
They're all nice. They're all powerful. They do rank them when you take that test. They do rank them 1 to 24, and your top 5 are what are known as your signature strengths.
Right.
So Maria, what do you want to talk about with this? Where do you want to start?
Yeah. So as you were telling that story, I remembered that I took the VIA test immediately after, we talked to Caroline Adams Miller on the show the second time, because
Okay.
she was so, she talked about it so hopefully. And so, like, this is the answer. So I
Yes.
love the concept, and I tend to be a kind of an optimistic person anyway. So I love this idea of focusing on strengths. So I took the test, and I'm just going to tell everybody what my top 5 are. And the nice thing about this is the test is free. You can take it again and you'll change, over the course of your life. So it's not like your horoscope is always the same, it's going to change. But when I took the test, my top 5 were honesty, forgiveness, perseverance, no surprise there, hope, and appreciation of beauty and excellence, which delighted me because I think that's really true. What are your top 5, Kelly?
My top 5 are love, in this order: gratitude, leadership, bravery, and creativity. So Maria, we don't overlap on anything, do we?
Which makes us great partners.
It
And
does.
interestingly, I don't overlap on anything with my husband's, who his are curiosity, love, creativity, love of learning, and fairness. So I think that's interesting that I have none overlapping with you and none overlapping with Jim. How about Mark, your husband?
Mark and I are both, our number one, both for us, is love, which I think is really kind of cool. And that in fact, there's a cool little printout that you can get from the VIA. I'm going to just try to hold it up here, but I don't know if people can see that, but it shows all the there's a little icon for each one. So everybody, you would think what love means, but basically we overlap on that, which is warm and genuine love with value. We value close relationships. And
Right.
Mark truly values close relationships. He stays in touch with his friends. So that one we overlap on, and we don't overlap on anything else. So his are love, zest, curiosity,
This is so true.
perspective, and
Yeah.
love of learning. And what's really interesting is that our husbands, who are really good friends and they seem to just get along, fantastically, they overlap on 2 of those, which are curiosity and love of learning.
That'll get you through a lot of long conversations right there.
Yeah, that's a great point, Maria. That is a great point.
Yeah. So I, you think about your top, the point of this is working with your strengths, and using your strengths. And if you work with and use your strengths, which I've done, I think somewhat unconsciously, not all of them. Interestingly, I have always known that I was honest. And that sometimes felt like a negative thing, but I'm delighted to just say, okay, honesty, and the definition is authentic, trustworthy, and sincere. And I think that's a beautiful description of honesty and the things that I really, really do value in myself and others. So, it's cool to take the test and see how it comes up, and then say, yeah, and that's something that I've used in my life. I've always been very authentic, at sometimes to a fault. So, so how have you used, how are you aware of using some of your strengths, Kelly?
Yeah, Maria, I want to first talk about your top 2, as your sister basically, and best friend here. I love your honesty as your number 1 quality, and then even better almost is your number 2 quality, which is forgiveness, because I sometimes, I don't know, when you're a business partner and family member, you can have disagreements.
When you're close to somebody, you rub up against each other, right?
Yeah. And so you always are so forgiving, and I really love that. So
thank you, Kelly. That's
it's just
so
so beautiful. Like I love that. And of course your perseverance is your number 3. So it's really, and hope. And your appreciation of beauty. I think that what is so amazing about your 5, Maria, is they just nail you. Like when I look at you, like, cause you do use your signature strengths. You are doing all those things. And I think that's why you're flourishing. So they say, if you use your strengths, you are going to flourish. And instead of, so we, if you're working with people, instead of saying, oh, you need to do this, this, and this to improve, like these are your low points.
Right.
This research shows that if you actually say, okay, let's forget about my low points. I want to really lean into my positive points and do those. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
you do. And I will say that you, I mean, maybe it's our age in life, that we have learned these, and, I did take the test over a year ago, but, I was talking with Jim this morning about your bravery. and it's one of the things I so admire is, I forget exactly what I said. I said, Kelly, a door goes a little bit open. She's not sure what's behind it, but she just pushes on through and makes good things happen. And I think that's partly leadership and partly bravery. But then that leadership and bravery in you is very softened by your love and your gratitude. So it's like, I think sometimes you can think of, somebody who's very brave and leader-like as not being approachable, but you are the one, love is your number one strength. So it's a great combination in you.
thanks, Maria.
God did a good job.
Oh yeah, we absolutely on every human being. God
Yes,
did the
that's
perfect
true.
job.
Right.
So whatever your 5 strengths are, they are what you should use. And it's funny. Thanks for saying that, Maria. And I am brave. And I've never thought of it like that, but I guess that really does help out with leadership.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so once you figure out what your strengths are, it's a good idea to think about them and talk about them, and just like Kelly and I've done, acknowledge them, that these are our strengths. And Caroline Adams Miller, as we said before, has worked, done a lot of scholarship with these strengths, with the VIA strengths, and so she knows a lot about them. And she has suggested a couple of ways to work with your strengths. And the first thing is to acknowledge your strengths. And the second thing, one of her suggestions is to think about a time when you used all your strengths in a positive, proactive way. And Kelly, I think you have a story about that, don't you?
Yeah, well, this is an exercise that actually Caroline had me do. So I feel like this is so great because it shows when you are in flow, when you are flourishing, when you are using all of your strengths, you can do something that really, it's almost like it takes you out of your normal productivity or your normal accomplishment. So I can think of 2. So I think the actual assignment was, think of a time when you really hit the target, when you really did something that you were proud of.
Oh, I like
and
that.
Were you using those strengths? So the assignment is, write a paragraph about a thing that you did that, and see what you use. So my paragraph that I wrote, and I wrote this over a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago when we first started Champions Mojo. So the title is Kelly's Top 5 VIA Signature Strengths. As an example of me at my best. So that's the paragraph you're going to start with.
Right.
As an example of me at my best is when I created Champions Mojo. So that is the creative process.
Yeah.
It was a creative process where I could show my gratitude for having the good fortune to be an athlete. I can also show others love and feel love for them by sharing interviews, athletic techniques, and techniques to make their lives better. So, when we have these guests on, I am so in love with them.
Yes,
and
you are.
I want to show them love, and I want them to feel love from us. And so, and I'm grateful that they're on the show, and I'm grateful that I had the good fortune to be an athlete. And that, so then it goes on. And then I wrote, and I'm extremely brave, which is my third quality, to start a new business in a very competitive world. So, when, even back, we started our podcast before the big, huge podcast where when the pandemic came, everybody started a podcast, but we were actually a year before that. So, right. But even then there were still a lot of podcasts. There weren't a lot of women doing podcasting. There weren't a lot of swimming podcasts. And so it was like, gosh, this is kind of scary, but, I'm going to do it because, I'm brave. I will kick that door in and try to go through it. And then the last sentence is,
I didn't use the term kick. I think you sort of nudge it open.
I nudge it. Yeah.
Sometimes
my number six is actually kindness,
yes.
believe it or not.
Yes,
So
I do believe it.
I get to use my leadership in working with Champions Mojo's team. So, when you're running a podcast, you have your producer, your audio engineer, we have CG and his team and you, and, all kinds of things that go on, people that we, the guests. So there's a lot to coordinate. There's a lot to lead. So I get to use that other character strength. And when I did this way long ago, like, maybe 9 years ago with starting the International Topical Steroid Awareness Network, same exact thing. It was creative. I had gratitude that I had found the answer to my skin problem, that I felt love for Dr. Rappaport and for people that were going through topical steroid withdrawal, that I was brave in starting a charity. I mean, that is like really brave. And that I was a leader within that organization. So this is the exercise example of you at your best. So Maria, can you kind of look at your 5? And I thought this would be really fun to do as an exercise on the spot for you.
I knew you were going to do this. So
so let's do yours. So somebody listening could think about it.
Right. So, again, I've done a lot in my life that I'm proud of, but recently, relatively recently, the last couple of years, starting a coaching business, a life and health coaching business, I think has used a lot of my strengths. Honesty, as I said, is authentic, trustworthy, sincere. You can't be a coach unless people see you as authentic, trustworthy, and sincere. Forgiveness is really merciful, accepting of others' shortcomings, giving people a second chance. Perfect in coaching, because people come to you because they're feeling raw and not perfect. So perseverance, because I even when things when I didn't have a lot of clients, just kept doing the next right thing. Hope, again, really so necessary if you're trying to help people to change. Just continually encouraging them and giving them a better version, helping them walk towards a better version of themselves. And appreciation of beauty and excellence. I have always appreciated, I like the beauty and excellence together, because I hadn't thought of myself as appreciating beauty and excellence. I've always valued excellence and trying, as we talked about, being professional or doing things the right way and being the highest. So I think, knowing, having that sort of forgiveness, to me, juxtaposed with the appreciation of beauty and excellence is like your leadership and bravery juxtaposes your love and gratitude. It's like they're kind of on the other ends, but they're softening. So my desire for beauty and excellence is softened by my, forgiveness and willing to overlook the bad. So I think coaching, for me, going into coaching has been a great use of all of my signature strengths.
I so agree with that. And I've done this exercise a lot. I've done, several different renditions of a paragraph. So Maria, I would write it like this. I would say, if I were you, Maria is at her best when she is coaching, because she is so honest and trustworthy. She has forgiveness for herself when she is not perfect, and certainly transfers that to her clients not being perfect. She is the epitome of persevering through tough times and helps her clients persevere through tough times. She has hope that she will help people and that people can create the best lives for themselves. And she certainly will appreciate the beauty and excellence of someone she's coaching, working hard to make their lives better. So,
nice.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Kelly.
just, it's like, so that's when you're at your best. And I'm sure if you went back through places in your life where you were flourishing, that you would see, and what I want to talk about this here, because Mark and I took these a year apart. Mine were actually the same a year ago as they were today. Well, I took this today again, and Mark and I had taken them a year ago. So they do change.
Yeah.
Mark had 2 of his change out. So I feel like, I don't know how often that one should take them, but I feel like that sometimes we do switch up a little bit. And I don't think there's, anything that I don't think if you have a number 24, that necessarily means that's a bad trait. We're just in positive psychology, we're really focusing on what your strengths are versus,
Right.
oh my gosh, I'm number 24 in, this. So I must really, I must really stink at that. That's just not
Right.
how it works.
That's absolutely counter to the whole idea.
Yes.
So, and there are other, Caroline Adams Miller has other, I think they're really good,
Exercises.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I'd like to do this one, identifying the dark side of your strengths. So for me, honesty is great. I mean, it's a beautiful strength, but obviously it can have, some dark sides. You can be in college. I was known as Frank because I would say whatever was on my mind, which was honest and authentic, but not kind, not loving. And so that's in it. But I don't want to focus on that because this is positive psychology.
Right.
But another thing is, and I love this, is where are you not using your strengths enough? Could you think about that, Kelly?
You mean my
yeah, or just, give us an example, like where one might be underusing their strength.
Well, I think, like I'll think about my husband. So his are love, zest, curiosity, perspective, and love of learning. So I think perspective is that kind of, like you always like to say, let's helicopter up.
Yeah.
So perspective is looking at the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mark underuses that sometimes, that he's looking at the minutia and the small.
Well, he's enjoying life. He's in the zest of it. So
he's in the zest of it.
Why helicopter up when you're having fun in the mud?
Yeah. So I mean, it is one of his strengths that I know
Right.
he's really good at perspective, but I think he needs to remind himself. So this would be a great one here for him.
Yeah.
And, we always love the term underreact because he can overreact. And I think whenever Mark overreacts, it's because he's not got perspective. He's like, oh my gosh, the pool guy didn't clean the filter today.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, honey, let's underreact and let's helicopter up and look like, in the whole scheme of our day, is an unclean pool filter basket going to be a bit,
Right.
oh, you're right. You're so right. So
that's so beautiful. One of the things that I truly love about Mark is his immediate ability to change and
perspective.
say, perspective.
Yeah. It's a strength. Oh my gosh, Maria, you nailed it.
Yeah.
He is absolutely somebody that when they're wrong, he says, oh, I'm wrong. You're right. I'm sorry.
So rare.
That is so rare. I mean, that is just so rare. So how about you? Like anything that you see in your husband, Jim, that he is, what strength is he underusing?
Oh gosh, he does. I was thinking about the ways he uses his strengths, like with our business: curiosity, love, creativity, love of learning, and fairness. I think the fairness thing can be.
So let's give a little definition of fairness.
Okay,
which
fairness.
It's justice. It's under the virtue of justice.
Right. So that's right.
Just doesn't let feelings bias decisions about others. Gosh, he really practices that one. You know what I would say Jim's is?
What?
That he under practices, but I know that he absolutely is a strength, is love. I think Jim could do a better job of letting people know that he loves them. I mean, I know that he does it in his love language ways, but he's a little bit of an introvert. He's a little quiet,
one of her, a part of that exercise, she's Caroline Adams Miller says, you might be using it well within yourself and not well interpersonally, or not well in your career or whatever. And I think that's absolutely true. I think, actually Jim is great at showing love in general. He feels very, love, but I think sometimes, in his career, in his professional, I think his fairness can kind of overwhelm, the love thing. So I think that's, it's good. But again, it's positive psychology. So we don't really want to dwell on, the negative aspects, but it's good to know like the dark sides and where you can, and I love this exercise, which is, are you offended by the absence of a strength in someone else? This is so me. So
tell me about that.
Okay. So I value excellence and beauty, right? And so if somebody else doesn't do things to my standards, then I'm offended by that. So they may be incredibly loving and honest, or, have all these other, they're brave and perseverance, but if they don't hold to my standards of excellence, then I'd be very judgmental about that. So I love thinking, oh, I love the perspective is they have different strengths than I do. And just because they don't have
Yes.
my strength doesn't mean that they're not an incredibly wonderful person with, so I love that
That is
exercise.
Maria, that is a great one. And that is like, I coach a lot of people on a lot of people that I coach, executive coaching in the workplace, have a problem with other people so they're judgmental. They have
Yeah.
a problem with people that aren't up to their standards. And that's a great way to look at it, that all of those people have strengths, or just different strengths.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And we want to play to their strengths. So that's, yeah. And
So Maria, I think, yeah. Do you want to cover the superhero one? I think that was kind of cute, but I didn't relate to this one as much, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So she says you can identify your favorite superhero, cartoon character, or hero from history. So she says one fun way to think about your strengths is through an exercise Chris Peterson, the co-founder of VIA, taught us during my year at Penn. He suggests that we identify our favorite characters from plays, literature, blah, 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 and describe that character's top traits. He said that we are often fascinated by and admiring characters who match our top 5 strengths. I think that's really true because, you see a character on, I was watching a movie or a show, and I was like, I love this character. And Jim says, that's because this character, is just like you.
Well, I don't know of any superheroes that are loving and gratuitous and kind. I mean, they're very few. Like, so, it depends on what your character strengths are. And if your character strength is spirituality and kindness and humanity and, social intelligence, there aren't any, unfortunately, social intelligence is one of them. There's not a superhero with those strengths. So I think that exercise is a little limiting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So anyway, I mean, that's what we do. We talk about the good and the bad of things. So, well, Maria, we have definitely had a lot of fun with this one, but truly
takeaways. Are we going to take anything away?
Oh yeah, we're going to do takeaways. But before we get into the takeaways, just, go do the test.
Yeah. It's cheap.
Free.
It's quick. It's free. It's free and it's quick. There's a lot of resources on that website, but there's other websites too. Once you kind of know your strengths, the world is your oyster.
Yeah. But via characters.org. Yeah.
It's now time for the takeaways. Maria, you and I have heard the takeaways are the best part of the show.
That's right, Kelly, because the takeaways are curated information, which is what we give to our clients when we coach them.
If you would like to take your performance to the next level in health, life, or leadership, go to our website and schedule your free 30-minute consultation.
Yes, just click on our coaching page and book there. We're looking forward to bringing out the champion in you.
And now, the takeaways.
The takeaways on the Values in Action Character Strengths by Chris Peterson and Martin Seligman. What a great tool for flourishing. 9 times more likely to flourish. What are you going to take out of this, Maria?
Well, I just think the obvious that my character strengths are great, and that I can use them and that I have been using them. I think for me, just reflecting on the things that I've done that I'm proud of and knowing that I have been using these. And then I guess maybe a secondary little one would be to always remind myself that everybody has different strengths and not to be, not to embrace those and to look for those, to put in a positive way and to think of those as complementary to me. So how about you, Cal?
Yeah, I would just say the takeaway is everyone should do this. Everyone should have their friends do it, their significant others, their kids, their grandparents. It's just like you can have better, you can support people better when you're encouraging their strengths. Then you'll start to look at their strengths versus looking at their weaknesses. And that is your little second one, which is we all have different strengths. And just the fact that you and I are so close and we have none of the same strengths. We don't need to have the same strengths. And I just think that it's free. It's there to take. It's going to give you a lot of great information for you to flourish and to help others flourish.
Right. And just lift your soul too. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. All right. Love you, Kelly.
Love you too, Maria.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Champions Mojo podcast with host Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker. Champions Mojo is produced by Cabra Media, and a new episode debuts every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Follow Champions Mojo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Champions Mojo.